And we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's live video. Thank you for joining us. We are glad you could join us today. We appreciate you for being here, and we are just about to get started. Yes. So today I will be. My name is Kende Sharon. I'm hosting Mr. Kayode. Mr. Kayode, can you introduce yourself to us, sir?
Yeah, I can't. Did I get you? I didn't get that.
Yes, introduce yourself to us, sir.
Sorry, please. You can come again.
I said you should introduce yourself. We are live now. So, like I said earlier, my name is Kende Sharon. I'll be hosting this video with Mr. Kayode. So, Mr. Kayode
Okay.
is our host
This
for
is
today.
Ido Kayode on the line, the lead agronomist for Leverage Fresh Limited. I'll be the one to take you through the journey on sustainable plant health vegetable production. Stay tuned while I expect this section to be engaging and interactive. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kayode. So, today we'll be talking on sustainable plant health management. Sustainable plant health management. So, today, as I'll be asking Mr. Kayode some few questions, and my first question goes to us that Mr. Kayode, in simple terms, how will you define sustainable plant health management, and why should every vegetable farmer
Okay,
care
thank you
deeply?
very much, Ms. Sharon. Yeah, sustainable plant health management. I'll try to be brave and short. The word sustainable simply means careful. When you are careful about something, when you are cautious about something, like you are caution about your plant. Let me use that word because we are dealing with vegetables.
Okay, I think Mr. Kayode is off the video. So, to our live viewers, thank you for still standing by us. Like I said earlier today, we'll be talking on sustainable plant health management in vegetable production. So, in simple terms, I was asking Mr. Kayode how plant health management, how we can define sustainable plant health management, and why should every farmer care deeply about it. I'll be taking some live comments now. Said, okay, this is Blessing Omori. She's saying, lead agronomist, so bad. Okay, thank you so much for the comment. I'm sure Mr. Kayode, by the time you join us, it will be seeing this comment. Said, okay, this is another person saying we can't hear. Yes, we're having network issue currently. So we will restore that as soon as possible. Please, you can still stay with us. Oh, Blessing Omori is saying not just in Sharon inclusive. Thank you so much for that. For us, we're having network issue currently. So Mr. Kaide is still out. Will be coming in anytime soon. So you can still wait with us till our lead agronomist comes in and give us answers to some of the questions we have. So, like I said earlier, I was going to explain why sustainable plant health management is important and how he would divine it, and why should every vegetable farmer actually really care about it. Why should every vegetable farmer care about it? So it's actually a very simple topic. When you talk about sustainability in plant health management, we can actually we need to understand as farmers that we cannot just say we are caring for our plant and not have a sustainable way about it. For you to care about your plant, it means it has to be sustainable. Meaning, when you say sustainable, it means continuous. Mr. Okay, I think it's coming, but it's almost here. Okay, before it comes in, I'll just say quick something about being sustainable. When you talk about sustainability, it means something that can keep going on, something that can keep moving, something that can keep connecting. Okay, I have a comment. Oh, Mr. Emmanuel Wisdom is saying, I'm with you. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Wisdom. Thank you so much. As I was talking about sustainable earlier on, I'm just waiting for Mr. Kayode to join us into the group. So, Mr. Kayode, I'm adding you back to the live stream. Okay, I think his network is not yet stable yet. So before then, we were talking about how sustainable, how we can define sustainability in plant health management. Like I said earlier, something that is continuous, something that you can keep using over time, something that your health management matters a lot. And that's why we're looking at it in the sustainable way, in a way that matters to our plant. And why should every vegetable farmer care deeply about it? If your plant is not healthy, there's no way you produce your fruiting. As a farmer, we are more interested in the last part, that's the harvesting stage. How can our plants be fruit or be more produce more rather, if our plant health is what you care about, that matters a lot. It's what you do about your plant that matters to them, meaning that from the first stage, right from the nursery straight stage to the transplanting stage to the trellising stage to the pruning stage to every stage that you're going to be doing, your plant health matters a lot. And that's what we're talking about, the sustainable part in a health management way. So when we talk about, we have different ways in which you can use to sustain your plant. We have, okay, sorry, Mr. Kayode is trying to enter into the live streaming video now. So why should every farmer also care about it? Your plant, like I said earlier, your plant health matters. Your plant health matters a lot. Mr. Kayode, are you with us now, sir? Mr. Kayode? Okay. If you
Hello,
still have it. Yes, we can hear you now,
hello,
sir.
Miss Sharon. Can you
Yes, I
hear
can
me?
hear you, Mr. Kayode.
Sorry, my network.
We're having
Okay. Yeah, we are
issues.
good. Should I go ahead or
Yes, you can go ahead with the question. You can answer the question.
should I go ahead?
Yes, yes, please go. Go ahead with the question.
Okay. Yes, I was talking about. Sorry for the breaking network. This is Nigeria where network is not assured. Uh, yes, I was actually talking about sustainable plant health management, and I was defining what sustainable actually means. It means careful when you are dealing with something carefully. You have a concern. So when you are talking about plant health, it's the plants are finding. How are they doing after everything? After all what needs to be done has been done. How are the plants doing? And when you are talking about management, it's talking about careful planning, coordination, control, and managing of all these. So sustainable plant health management simply means keeping your plant healthy in a way that it will not have a detrimental effect. It will not damage your environment. It will not destroy the water bodies. It will have a positive impact on the final consumers. That is the livestock that will be feeding on your what you are producing, and also with the humans that will be feeding on what you are producing. So what you are doing has to be healthy and safe for consumption. In all this practice, your sustainable plant health management plays a role. And why do farmer really needs to care about it? Yes, it is very, very important because when you sustainably manage your farm, you save huge capital, you save a lot of money when you, because you have a structure that works, you have a plan, you have a purpose of what you know, you have a purpose of what you are doing. So this helps you to be able to save costs, you minimize waste, and you are able to manage a lot of things. And in all of this, your water bodies are not destroyed, your soil is not destroyed, what you are producing are safe and healthy for final consumption. That's other questions that will be coming in.
Thank you, Mr. Kayode.
Can you
Thank you
hear
for
me?
answering that question. Yes, I can hear you, sir. So thank you for answering the question for us.
Okay,
Thank you for
yeah.
letting us know that it's not when you're talking about sustainable plant management also, we're talking about caring for your plants, not just your plant alone, even your environment matters. Your soil, your water bodies, they all have factors, and when they all come to play, they do a lot of things in this thing. And so it matters a lot to us because whatever we eat is what we have. We say what you eat is what you are. So Mr. Kade, I'll be asking you that, would you say this is the no what will you say that is the number one plant health mistake you consistently observe among vegetable growers in Nigeria? And what is the cost of that mistake to their harvest?
Hmm. Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon, for this wonderful question. What would you say is the number one plant health mistake you consistently observe among vegetable growers in Nigeria? Yes, growers, we are actually ignorant, or let me say we don't actually care. Or let me say we care a little. Let me not use the word we don't actually care. A lot of us care a little, and majorly what we are just after is the profitability aspect of what we are doing. We don't really care about the health and safety aspect. So it's a big concern. And one of the major um, practices that we vegetable farmers use is the use of the chemical pesticides to manage pest and disease on our farm. And a lot of we farmers are ignorant about the usage, the handling of this chemical pesticide, the residual effect on our produce, on our plants, the after effect, the if they are even environmental friendly or eco-friendly to the environment and to us. So I'm going to say one of the major mistakes we farmers in Nigeria do is the misuse of chemical pesticides. We actually don't use them the right way. We just go to the agro store and maybe we are experiencing white flies in our field. We don't really know if it is threshold that require us to use the chemical pesticide. That is threshold actually means does it really need us to use pesticide, chemical pesticide to handle that situation, or we should just make use of other means to control the white flies. Now maybe the threshold not too detrimental because of the population is very, very minimal. But because of you just see one or two or three white flies on your plant, the next thought that comes to your head is to go and get imidacloprid or acetamiprid or abamectin to fight the insect. Of chemical pesticide is a big concern for we vegetable farmers that we really need to educate a lot of farmers about it. It's not just about getting chemicals to use. These are key things that we really need to look into. Otherwise, we'll keep having issue of our produce are not able to go beyond our the residue of those chemicals on our produce. That's why we have the issue of our produce being rejected by other countries, especially if you want to export your produce to the Western world. It needs to go through a lot of checks. And if you don't have knowledge and understanding about this thing, it will keep happening. And in the long run, you will realize that you spend more money in buying this thing that does not really need. You don't really need to that is not even detrimental to your plans for that moment. So it is very, very advisable and important that you try to know what you want to do and how to understand the chemical usage. I always talk about IPM, which is the integrated pest management, because this is a sustainable way to manage your plants without having any detrimental effect on the environment, on humans, and on every other bodies. Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode. Thank you for letting us that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me too? I believe it's network issue that is causing this
Okay.
network fluctuation. So I said thank you for answering our question. Thank you for letting us that fertilizer, the way we apply our chemicals, not just fertilizer alone, but the way we apply chemicals to our plants matters a lot, and we should be intentional about it. You should not just apply chemical because we see just one pest. We have different thresholds. We have different ways of controlling pest and disease. It can be the biological, can be the mechanical. You can use a cultural method. No compulsory use chemical all the way and all likes to like that. If you are joining us for the very first time, I'm saying thank you so much for joining. We are glad to have you here. We appreciate your time and we value you this evening. Thank you for joining this live stream today. And we are talking currently about sustainable plant health management in vegetable production. So Mr. Kayode is the is I'm hosting Mr. Kayode currently. My name is Kayode Sharon. I'll be asking Mr. Kayode some few questions. I also ask Mr. Kayode now that Mr. Kayode, what are the most destructive pests and diseases currently threatening vegetable production in Nigeria, and how are they evolving in response to climate change?
Hmm. That's a wonderful question, Ms. Sharon. Thank you for that question because pest and disease are one of the major problems we are experiencing in Nigeria, and it reduces your yield drastically. It can reduce your yield by 80%, if not 100, depending on how you manage the situation. And not coupling with the present climate change that is happening, which is making everything look as if what you are doing is not working. You need to understand a lot of these things, otherwise, we'll keep having issues. In Nigeria, we experience a lot of pests and disease, and I will just break them down into different categories. As a vegetable farmers, you should know this, and we also teach you to know this, because if you can handle this situation, then you should have minimum challenge and issue with your production. One of the major um, disease that we experience is insects. That's one category. We experience insect pests. The second category is the fungi disease. The third category is the viral disease. The fourth category is the bacterial disease. So those are the major four diseases that we experience in vegetable production in Nigeria. And in the insect category, we have one of the major destructive insects, which is the white flies. We have the thrips, we have the aphids, we have the caterpillars, armyworms, we have the spider mites, we have leaf miners, we have uppers, and so on. We have a lot of pests, but those major ones are very, very detrimental. White flies, thrips, aphids, armyworms, fruit borers, leaf miner. I could remember some years back when we almost wiped all the vegetable produce in that state that year. I think 2023 or so. So it's a serious issue. Um, why for the viral disease? disease. We have the tomato yellow leaf curl virus. We have the chili leaf curl virus. We have the tobacco leaf curl virus, tobacco mosaic virus, and other viruses that are very, very cucumber mosaic virus too. These are things that can wipe all your field in a twinkle of an eye. We also have the fungi disease, and this include the damping off, the blight, the powdery mildew, root rot, and so on. And also we have the can you hear me? Can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead,
And
sir. We'll be
also
with
we
you.
have the bacteria. We have the All right, all right. We also have the bacterial disease that include your septorial leaf spots, bacterial leaf spots, bacterial wilts, and so on. So these are most of the pests and disease that are very, very detrimental to our vegetable production in Nigeria. And also, there is a huge role climate change plays presently in those situations. And one of the role climate change plays is if you have excessive rainfall, there is a tendency that you will have more issue of blight taking over your farm, more issues of root rot taking over your farms, more issues of damping up taking over your farms, more issues of bacteria issues, bacterial wilts, and so on, septorial leaf spot, bacterial spot taking over your farm. Why? Because you are having excessive rainfall, and those disease does not like wet weather because they increase rapidly when the weather is wet and when the humidity is very, very high. Also, when the weather is hot, it gives room for rapid regeneration or rapid population of the insect, like whitefly, they can conducive for them. So that is one of the major roles climate change plays in insect pest disease. So the way you now manage those situations, things like that, your management practice has to be top notch. It has to actually be top notch because climate change is really playing a huge role, and if you don't understand it, it will look as if what you are doing is not working. For instance, now there is a farmer of ours that has been spraying some fungicide on his cucumber farm, and he realized that this thing is not even working. Its use of the fungicide is not effective. It's because of the weather. The weather has changed. So most of those things they are now building immunity towards those pesticides we are using. So if you don't understand that, you might just think what you are using is not working, and you are just spending money, and the disease is just piling up, increasing day by day. So those are approaches that you really need to look into and mitigate so that you can have a good output and yield, and also understand the weather. Understanding the weather, when to spray, time to spray, how to spray, the dosage, and also how you manage your IPM. Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Climate change matters a lot. Climate change is very important because most of these our pests and diseases are now evolving and are getting resistant. So we need to know how to mitigate all these things and know when is the right time to spray, when is the right time to 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 spray our plants. So I can say I'm taking some of our comments here. We have sorry. We Mr. Tunde is saying, well done, Mr. Kayode. Miss Miss Favor is saying, thank you, Mr. Kayode and Sharon. We are saying thank you too also. So I'll also be asking Mr. Kayode that can you walk us through the principles of integrated pest management and how small scale vegetable grower can realistically apply it without a big budget?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sharon. Thank you so much for that question. It's a very, very important question that we really need to dwell into. Actually, we might not finish it, but at least the most important the most important things needs to be touched. If you notice, I have been mentioning that word IPM because it is very, very important in your overall management practice. It plays a good role in your overall management practice, integrated pest management. Um, as I talk, integrated is when you are talking about integrated, it means different approaches. When you are talking, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can keep going on.
Okay. When you are talking about integrated, it means different practices. When you're talking about pest, we all know what pest is, something we don't want on our farm, something that is destructive, that want to cause havoc, and we really don't want them on our farm. And management is how you careful plan and manage those things. Now there are five core values in integrated pest management. So there are five core values, and I will just be listing it briefly. The number one value is prevention. One of the core value in IPM is prevention. Prevention is what you do to make sure that you prevent every pest on your farm. How you prevent pests on your farm is one of the key means to manage your IPM properly. And the second one is monitoring. A lot of us don't really take monitoring serious, or we don't value monitoring. Monitoring is very, very important in your IPM approach. And monitoring is checking your plants to know if they are okay, to know if they are sick, to know if they need something. It's only when you monitor your plants that you realize, or you will know that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. Do I need to spray? Do I need not to spray? That is where monitoring comes into play. It is not just about checking the leaf. There are some other things that can help you monitor your plants, like the usage of sticky traps in your open field, in your greenhouse. Sticky trap is mostly used in the greenhouse, but you can also use that in the open field. Yes, it's one of the key approach to monitor your plants, because sticky traps will capture some of the insects that are available in that environment. So when you go for your monitoring, you can easily detect with the usage of the sticky trap that, oh, this is white fly, this is disturbing my plant. What do I need to do? Do I need to spray, or do I need to just neglect them because maybe the pollution is not much, or they are not presently detrimental to your plant? That is another, the second core value. The third core value is the threshold. The threshold is this pest really economically damaging to what you are doing. When you have a pest that is, for instance, I said something earlier on, like you have 4 or 5 white flies on your 1 acre farm. After you've done your monitoring, you've checked your plant, and you realize that you just saw few 2 3 white flies. It does not mean you should quickly rush to go and spray. No, you have to also know that because you are saw that does not mean they are economically destructive. No, they are not. But by the time you go for monitoring and you observe that these white flies are extremely much, the population is much, then you know that this is economically destructive and will cause a serious havoc to your, and spray, because you know that this is massive and it is highly destructive. So that's the number 3 core value in your IPM management. The number 4 core value is the control method. The control method is where we now have different controls method. And the different control methods include 4. We have the cultural control method. I believe you can hear me. The network has done what it likes to do. So, as I was saying, we have the cultural control method. The cultural control method, it's talked about how you control your farm, your field culturally without the use of any harmful substance. So when you talk about cultural is, for instance, you plant tomatoes. It is not advisable you plant tomatoes on that same portion of land. You have to practice what we call crop rotation. If you plant tomatoes today, tomorrow you can plant legumes. You can plant or you can plant cereals. That will help you to break the disease cycle on the field, and that's one of the control method that you need in your IPM approach. The the sanitation of your field also plays a part. How you tidy your field, how you manage your field, how you make sure your fields are very, very clean and well neat. Your biosecurity approach is very, very important too. Also, your irrigation. How do you water your plants? It's also a cultural approach. How do you make sure you water your plant? You just decide to water without having a control, or you rely on rain, or on drip irrigation system. So that's one of the method that you use in your IPM approach. Also, the number second one is the mechanical approach or mechanical control method. Mechanical control is using, let me say, the use of greenhouse is a mechanical control because you have a protection that protects the entrance of any insect into the greenhouse. Those are mechanical control method. You can also make use of the what we call um, pheromones. Pheromone is a trap that invites the male insect to call that the female insect through the hormone that has been inoculated into the pheromones invites the males, and during those process the males are being captured. That's how pheromones works. Also, the removing of infected leaves, infected plants, are all mechanical. The hand picking of insects are mechanical. Why the biological approach is one of the very, very important approach. Welcome back with Sharon. I guess the network took you away. Um, so we are talking about the control method. So we are on biological control. Biological control method is the use of your biopesticide, bionematicide, biofungicide that are very, very effective. We have the trichoderma. We have at least most of us are conversant with neem oil. Neem oil, that is the Azadirachta indica. We are mostly conversant with that. We also have the Pseudomonas brasilia, we have the Bacillus thuringiensis. Those are biological control that plays a good role not only on the plant, it also plays a good role in rebuilding your soil, making sure the microbes in the soil are active and approach does. Why the last approach is the chemical approach. Chemical control method should be your last option after you've done all the four core values. And in summary, as I said, the five core values, which include the prevention, monitoring, threshold, control method, and the last one is the evaluation. So for the control method, we are not talking about the biological and the mechanical and chemical. Sorry. And as I said, chemical should be your last option. When I mean chemical, we mean the synthetic pesticide. The synthetic pesticide. So those realize that you've done this is not actually working, you've done this is not actually working, then the last option should be your chemical approach. The chemical approach is the use of your imidacloprid, abamectin, and so on. Those are the chemical approach to manage your pest and disease. Why in the five core value, the last one is the evaluation. After you've done your threshold, you've done your control method, the last fifth option is the evaluation. You need to evaluate every practice you have done if it is actually working or not. Thank you very much, Miss Sharon. For okay, let me quickly talk about how can
Yes.
small scale vegetable grower
Realistically,
realistically apply it without huge budget. Yes, if you actually practice IPM very well, you will save costs totally. And as I say, the core value, chemical approach will be your last option. So there is even a high tendency that you might not even
use
use
chemical.
chemicals. That is in production or sustainable vegetable production. Chemical will be your last option, especially for home garden. There are a lot of organic or natural product that you can use, and they are effective. We have garlic, we have ginger, we have bitter leaf, we have natural, but they are we have baking soda, and they are very, very effective. So you can incorporate those things into your IPM management approach, and you will realize that you are saving a lot of costs without even spending a dime on chemical. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kayode. Thank you for that wonderful
Yeah, I'm done,
insight.
Sharon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I can hear you now. I think the network is lagging from my end. But thank you, Mr. Kayode. Thank you for that wonderful insight. Thank you for giving us the principles of this IPM, which is the integrated pest
I can't
management.
hear you.
I believe you should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me now, sir? Let me just go ahead for our viewers. Thank you for joining us today. So if you've not
I can't.
registered for GrowVeg Challenge 6.0, we are employing you to register now. The window for registration is still open. You can imagine this short lesson that you are listening from Mr. Kaide, and you are getting it. Imagine how registering for the whole full course, how your knowledge will be implied and every other thing. It's going to be so wonderful. Let me take some comments. Mr. Sunday Okola is saying, great insight from Mr. Kayode. Mrs. Abraham Sene is saying he's glad to be here. Thank you so much for being glad to hear. We have Matt Abayo say this is quite eye opening. Well done, sir. Thank you so much for our live viewers. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to register for Grover Challenge 6.0, the window room for registration is still open. You can join us via www dot you can register via www.leveragefresh.com. You can register through this link. Who respond to you. You can message us. You can go to our Facebook page, any of our social media handle, from Instagram to TikTok to Facebook. You can message our page leveragefresh.com, and we will respond to you. We'll be glad to have you in our community. We'll be glad to have you in our cohort. So if you have any question, you can actually message us and we will answer you. So Mr. Kayode, I'll also be asking that fungal disease like damping of blight, powdery mildew are very common in vegetable farms. What are your top sustainable strategies
Hello,
for
can you
prevent?
hear me, Sharon? I can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. You go ahead and answer the question.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
We are hearing you, sir. I don't know. Can you see your screen, sir? I believe you should be seeing the questions on the screen.
Okay. I believe you can hear me. Fungi disease like damping of blight and powdery mildew are very common in vegetable farms. Yes. What are your top sustainable strategies for preventing and managing them? Thank you very much. That's a personal question. I'm not supposed to be exposing my secret, but I have to do that because of our people and for the purpose of learning and for the purpose of our participants. You don't release your guns like that. Um, yes, most of the major problems for vegetable farmers are majorly fungi and bacterial disease and viral infection, especially the aspects of that bacteria issue and fungi. They are really a thorns in the flesh. They are really a thorn in the flesh. And let's take note and let's understand this. When your farm is infected or affected with fungi disease like blight, like powdery mildew, and like damping off,
Okay, I think Mr. Kayode network has gone off. I'll take over. I think I'll take some comment section now. We say, okay, I'm seeing some questions here. Mr. Joseph is saying, happy to be here. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you for joining
there
us.
is
Okay, Mr.
a
Aderunke Shubowale is asking some questions.
mini
And okay, we'll answer. That will be a private one. If you want to question us, we can go to our Facebook page, drop your questions there. I will tell you our best one will respond to you. If you want explanation on see here, that's the greenhouse pollution. No problem, sir. Okay. Mr. Gushola Thomas is
solution
saying this is great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Gushola. Thank you
to
for
what you
joining us. Blessing Omori is saying we can hear you, but yes, I think it's the network that is having
can do.
issues lagging from his end.
Uh,
So it's still not yet back. I think he's trying to communicate, but there's an issue. Okay, for people saying that they can't hear us, you can actually go to your left icon and press on the volume button so it unmutes everybody at once. Then you can actually hear us. So Mr. K is having a serious network issue. Network is really fighting him right now. So I've been so wonderful. This is the question. He yes,
there is
sorry,
majorly no solution. If your plant
his network is coming and going. Stress tell us that the fungal disease like damping of blight and powdery mildew are very common in vegetable farms. What is our top sustainable strategy for preventing and managing them?
network as you can you hear me, Miss Sharon?
Yes, I can hear you better now, sir.
Okay, yes, I was talking. Okay, all right, thank you. Yes, I was talking about the insect pest disease that is damping off powdery mildew and blights that are very, very detrimental to your plants. And that's one of the major problems we encounter in Nigeria and even in other overall output will definitely make you smile and it will increase your yield. And one of the ways we in Leverage Fresh Limited manage our plants or manage those challenges is one, we ensure that we have a good nursery structure. When you have a good nursery structure, you know that your nursery is safe or is highly protected from any kind of pathogen that might likely infect your seedlings. Um, and in all your management starts from the moment you start raising your seedlings. So we always make sure we get a very good resistant or good seed variety that have some high resistance to blight or damping. No, not damping. I think there is no seed for damping off yet, but we have seed that are resistant to blight and possibly powdery mildew and maybe other diseases like bacterial wilt and tobacco yellow leaf spot virus. They are diseases that are resistant to all that. So your seed selection is a key factor in your management practice to curtail all these diseases that we are talking about. And also, after the seeding of your seed, that's the nursing of your seed, your nursery management, which include your watering. If you water excessively, there is a high tendency that you will definitely experience damping off. So that's why in our management we make sure that our watering is properly managed, and it's not what we do late in the evening, or we water during the peak of the sun. And also we try to control the environment where the seeds are, to make sure that the intense sun is not having a negative effect on them, by the usage of maybe shade nets to control some parts of the nursery house. And during those periods, we manage our water. Our feeding is highly top notch before we transplant to the open field. During those periods of nursery management, our field preparation also plays a key role in preventing this disease or this pest. And one of the major factor we also consider is the spacing. Your spacing is very, very important. A lot of us, we are so greedy that we want to put 20,000 plants or 20,000 seedlings or plant population in an acre of land. No, it is not advisable. If you are too greedy, maybe thinking that because if you have too much plants in your open field, you have a good output. It doesn't work that way. You must consider spacing.
True.
I always say the plants are living things, so you cannot choke them. If you choke them, they will not respond properly. They need air, they need water, they need space to explore, so you don't overcrowd them. And funny enough, the moment you start overcrowding them, the moment the high tendency that if there is any issue with one, it can easily transfer to the other one quickly or rapidly. So, but when you manage your spacing effectively and very well, you manage the issue of all these powdery mildew, blight, and so on, because they are highly transferable. So, spacing is very, very important in our management practice. And also, we all know that damping off is mostly caused by excess water, waterlogged environment, and the light. So we make sure that we study the environment we want to plant. We study the topography, the terrain. If you are around doing reed, which we always encourage that you make ridge, to make sure that even if that place is waterlogged, the moment it rains, the water can easily drain faster, so that it will not lead to damping off root rot. So you have to manage your water effectively. And let's also know that our plants, especially the tomatoes, the pepper, the cucumbers, they don't like their leaves to be wet. They like to receive water, but they don't like their leaves to be watered. So if you are watering, if you are using maybe you are doing manual watering or you are doing rain fed, it's a big there is a big tendency that the plant will be prone to all those above mentioned disease, because they don't like their leaves to be wet. That's why we always advise, if it rains today, you have to spray the next day, because the moment it rains, their leaves are wet, they are prone to all kind of fungi disease, which is not healthy for them. So that's why we say, don't overwater your leaves, or don't water your plants, or don't overwater. If you also overwater, there is a high tendency it will lead to root rot and damping off. But mostly damping off happens during the seedling stage and first, second week of transplanting. So after then, what you'll be experiencing is root rot, bacterial issue, and blight. So you have to also consider your water management. It's very, very important. Another practice we do is the crop rotation. We always tell people to make sure they practice crop rotation, because it helps you to break the disease outbreak. It breaks the disease cycle. If you plant tomatoes in a portion of land, don't be so greedy or selfish and go back and put tomatoes there. Let's try to be patient enough, or to be able to endure for some period of time and put something else there. If you want to even do tomatoes, you can try to put leguminous plants like like in the next 3-4 weeks. You can terminate that and plant your tomatoes back to that place. At least with that little time that the leguminous plant is there, it has breaking up the disease build up that the plants are getting used to. But don't go and put tomatoes there or pepper going back to put tomato and pepper. It's not advisable. So this one of the approach we use to manage all these pests and disease on our farms too. We practice crop rotation, and I made mention of using a good resistant seeds. You make sure you get a good resistant seed, and also your control methods is very, very important. And the control method that we made mention of previously is the cultural, the mechanical, the biological, and the chemical. Your control method plays a role. And what we also do is we practice sustainable IPM approach. We make use of the cultural. If you come to our farm, you will see plastic mulch. It helps us to manage a lot of issues. It helps us to manage weeds. Let's also know that weeds are pests. We are able to manage weeds to at least 60% with the use of our plastic mulch. And also during the preparation of our land, we're able to use a lot of bow products. That is biological products like the mycorrhiza fungi, the pseudomonas, and so on. Even the nematicide we use are bow products, and these are products that it helps to also build your soil structure. And what do? They go in there to make sure they suppress the harmful pathogens that will likely cause the fungi issue, the nematode issue to come and affect your plant. So that's what the biological pesticide does. They go to the soil and fight those harmful ones. And by the time they are fighting those harmful ones, they are making rooms for the beneficial ones to work. And the moment they are making rooms for the beneficial insects or beneficial microbes to work, your plant will be able to uptake nutrient effectively without having any issue, and we will be able to withstand other environmental factors like harsh weather and so on. So those are some of the practice we do in our field to make sure we manage all this disease. And also we make sure that we also know we also know the health of our soil by doing our soil analysis to make sure we know the pH of our soil, the available nutrients of our soil, because pH also plays a huge role in your overall management, on your overall plant management. If you don't know the pH of your soil, it is very, very risky because you might be applying all the necessary nutrients and so on. You realize that the plants are not growing, they are not doing that, they are not. You'll be complaining. I gave my plant NPK, I gave my plant this, I sprayed that, I sprayed this. Why? But because your soil is maybe acidic or alkaline, they are not able to uptake those nutrients. So those are the things that you need to actually know. Your soil pH, the characteristics of your soil, the health of your soil. It plays a huge role in managing pests and disease on your farm. I can tell you this for free. If your soil is healthy, your plant will be healthy. And if your plant is healthy, they will be able to withstand a lot of challenges and issues. If you are not healthy, you are prone to a lot of challenges, unlike somebody that is healthy. So that is what we preach. When you make sure your soil is healthy, you have saved yourself 50% from a lot of pests and disease, especially the soil-borne disease. So those are the approach we use on our farm to manage pests and disease. And as I said, we also make use of chemical pesticide. But those are the last options that we make use of. That is when we know that this thing is going to cause a serious damage. It's going to cause a serious havoc to our field. Then we can now come in and bring in the chemical. The chemical are the one that work faster and sharp. It's just like we are going to war. You have to keep your bazookas and go when you realize that at this stage these people are taking over. Then you come out with your best weapons and take over the war. Otherwise, you will lose it. But if you start using your chemical approach, that is a wrong method. Your chemical approach will be your last option in managing pests and disease on your farm. Um, and also, you have to also manage and study the environment. You have to study the weather to know when to act, because the weather also plays a role in your decision making. If you have a plan on doing something, if the weather is so harsh or if the weather is not conducive, it might likely change your intention and your plan. So those are the approach we use in managing pests and disease on our farm. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. K. Thank you for that wonderful insight. Even my next question just explained what you just said, so I will never bother asking again. My next question to be like, they say healthy soil equals healthy plant, and you've confirmed that yes, healthy soil equals healthy plant, and it directly influences our ability, the plant ability to resist pests and diseases. So, Mr. K, I'll be asking that what quality and safety standard does Leverage Fresh Limited follows to ensure vegetables reaching consumers are free of harmful pesticide residue? And how important is this in the conversation? Did you get the question, sir?
Please come again.
What quality and safety standard does Leverage Fresh Limited follow to ensure that the vegetables reaching consumer are free of harmful pesticide residue? And how is this conversation important in Nigeria today?
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. Let me rephrase it. What quantity and safety standard does a farmer needs to follow to ensure that the vegetable reaching consumers are free of harmful pesticide residue and important in this conversation in Nigeria? Yes, that's a very wonderful question. I made mention of something earlier on in our discussion. I made mention of PHI, pre-harvest interval. I don't know if you remember. Pre-harvest interval, that is PHI, plays a huge role in healthy crops. If we don't actually practice PHI, then we are not doing the right thing. And as I said earlier on, in your plants health management, the goal is for you to produce safety food for the end consumer so that they can eat your food and they are sure that what they are eating is safe for them. A lot of challenges we are experiencing in Nigeria and globally. And what is most of the challenges are because of what we are presently eating, which are carcinogenic. And one of the reasons why those things are carcinogenic is because of the residues of what we are using. That is one of the reasons why we are preaching IPM. That is the using all approach to make sure you produce healthy food. Producing healthy food is very, very important. And now, um, if you are doing all this, if you are doing all this and you are not practicing PHI, it is unfair for us as we farmers. And this is one of the things we leverage fresh preach to our trainees, both the physical ones and online ones, and even to the clients. We have to make sure that we preach to them to make sure they practice PHI. That is pre-harvest interval, because most of what farmers do is they don't even consider the end user. You spray chemical today, you harvest tomorrow, and the chemical you spray, the PHI that was written on it is 7 days. But because of you want to sell your produce and make money, you just spray it today and you harvest tomorrow. It is not healthy. So that is where leverage fresh comes into play, by making sure they 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 maintain and stick to proper usage and understanding of pesticide, especially the chemical pesticide. You have to understand it and make sure that you know what's written on it. Don't just go to the market, buy it and use, and you are not considering the side effect. You need to know it and also make sure that you practice it. So that is where we come into play, that we preach it to people. You have to practice this. You have to make sure you maintain this standard, because of the people that are eating your produce are humans and they are livestock. So it is very, very important that we consider PHI. That's one. Two, um, we talk about using good seed also. Using good seed. When you plant good seeds, you will have limited issue on using too much pesticide. You see where the application of good seed comes into play. It is not just for you to pick in random seed and plant. When you plant seed that are resistant to, for instance, you want to plant your tomatoes and you buy a seed that is resistant to bacterial wilts, fluorescent wilts. Also, that gives you an idea that that will be catering for bacterial wilt because the seed already have a high resistance to withstand any issue on bacterial wilt. But if you go and buy a seed that is not having resistance to that, that means that you need to spray more chemicals to manage those situations. That because you don't want your plants to be affected with maybe bacterial wilt or fluorescent wilt. Also, I said earlier, and I'll keep saying it, IPM is very, very important in all of this because when you practice IPM, you make use of minimum chemical pesticide. When you've done your cultural effectively, your biological effectively, your mechanical effectively, you'll be making use of lesser pesticide usage. So this will play a good role in ensuring that what the consumer eats are not harmful to them. Also, as I said, the way we also undo our chemicals plays a role. The way we spray, you cannot spend too much time on spraying a particular plant. The effect will always tell. If you're supposed to use 20 ml dosage for 16 liters of water, don't be greedy because you want to kill the insect that is disturbing your plant and increase it to 50 ml. All this needs to be highly considered because it is you, the we humans, that we feed on it. Also,
True.
how you spray plays a role too. How you say plays a role. The calibration and all that play short. I was talking to one of our boys that they were doing drenching and they used almost 40 knapsack to drench. I was like, no, you can't do that. How can you be using 40 knapsack? It's too much. You are not supposed to use more than 10. And the reason is because they spend more time in doing the drenching. They are saying they were thinking they have to spend more time so that the thing will soak. And I said, no. In short, you are going to even spend more money. Something that is supposed to last you for like 4 or 5 times. You use it just for
Time.
one for one activity. That you have to spend more money in. So those are the
Cost
things,
another
those
one.
are the factors you need to consider. And at the end of the day, you realize that you are producing healthy food because you are thinking about safety and sustainable management. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. K. Thank you for the lovely response to the questions. So I'm taking the comments now. Mr. Ebenezer Ade is saying, only an healthy soil can produce healthy plant. That is true, just exactly as what Mr. Kayode has said. So I will let you know that registration for Groove Challenge 6.0 is still on. If you've not registered for Groove Challenge 6.0, you can register now. The window for registration is still open. You can register via www.leveragefresh.com, or you can register through our Facebook page. You can go online, go to our social media pages and register. We will gladly respond to you. If you have any questions, we'll gladly respond to you also. So, Mr. K, I'm asking you the last but not the least question. I'll be asking that for the last question for today. I'll be asking that what does the future of sustainable vegetable production looks like in Nigeria over the next decade, and what role do platforms like Global Challenge play in accelerating that future?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Sharon, for that wonderful question. Well. I always tell people this industry it's a calling, and a lot of people are now looking and now seeing the green lights in agriculture. Agriculture is the future, whether we like it or not. It's the future, and the future billionaires are agriculturists or our farmers. Um, Everybody needs a farmer. That's the only people that everybody needs is the farmer. The only people everybody needs is the farmer because there's nobody in this world that doesn't eat. So
True.
you need a farmer. You can do without doctor. You can do without any other people. You can do without scientists, but you always need a farmer. So the future is always bright and it will keep getting bright. In short, I saw a picture where it's like a queue. So there's an IT data department. We're just like two people there standing, and there is a department of agric, and the population that is standing in that place are like massive. What is that saying? It's saying that agriculture is the future of tomorrow. Is the future, and we cannot do without it because food is a important part in the life of everybody. We need food to survive. We need food to live. We need food to be healthy, to keep going. Without food, we cannot do anything. So that's where agriculture is very, very important. Now, for um, for the future of vegetable production in the like in Nigeria over the next 10 years, yes, the future is actually bright. As I say, it's actually bright because now in the next 10 years there will be a lot of technology, climate smart agric, climate smart production that will be going into play. There will be a lot of technology in the agric space. And if you are conversant or if you are a YouTube person, you'll be seeing a lot of technologies that has gone into play in the agric sector in other countries. Can we name few like the Israels, the Netherlands, Germany, and so on? A lot of technology is going into play, even in Dubai, where it's a desert. Look at the kind of technology that has gone into play.
On
They
there.
can plant me. Then you should know that this is the future. And in the next 10 years in Nigeria, a lot of that would have been coming into the system because a lot of we youth back then are looking at the agri sector like a dirty man job. But a lot of people now are going into it. We have they are farmers and they are looking well, handsome, pretty, and so on. But they are all farmer. Why? Because the future is changing. The narrative is changing. We are not looking at it or doing it in the primitive way, the way our forefathers were doing it. Yes, the way we do it in leverage fresh. If you come to our field, you will see it in the greenhouse, in the open field. You will know that this is a modern system of agriculture. You cannot come there and not be interested in agriculture. In short, where we are presently producing our crop, there is nobody that is passing by that will not stop and like, what is happening here? Because it is an innovation. And if you've not seen it before, you will be wow, like wow, what is this? What is happening here? Why are they putting nylon? Why are they running rope? Why are they putting, and those rope are the drip lines that will be bringing out the water because they have not seen those things before. So it's a new phase. It's a new phase, and those are where the young ones can now come into board because they have seen a future. You can confidently tell somebody to go and study agric in the school. Back then, if you are given an agric course, you will be angry. Your parents can disown you. But now they'll even encourage you go and study agric because it is the future. It is the green light. You don't have a choice. There's somebody that can be given an agric course now that will reject that course because they have seen the light. And how do leverage fresh or grow veg challenge plays a role in this? Grow veg challenge are creating people, are training people that will become food ambassador locally, internationally, and globally. And not just training them, we are training them to be able to understand that when they are able to stand on their own, they can produce sustainable, healthy food that will be bridging the gap of food insecurity in the system. We are not just doing challenge. The challenge is like a plus. What we're actually doing is training them, and we can confidently tell you that we have trained these people. They can run your farm, they can manage your farm effectively without compromising anything. Why? Because we are certain that these people have been well trained and they understand what they are doing, and we have fixed them in different places. We have trained a lot of people. This is the cohort 6 that are coming on board. We are in cohort 5 presently, and a lot of them have even stand on their own. A lot of them are managing farms, home garden. A lot of them send videos and pictures to us that they were like happy, and there is a lot of testimonies. And we are not just training them, we are training them to make sure that we are not training them in the primitive way. We train them in the modern way, whereby they can go anywhere and they can call anywhere to come and manage the modern facilities, and they are well grounded, that they know what they are doing. So that's where we Grow Red comes into play in making sure that these are things that we do to help to bridge the gap of food insecurity in the system, and make sure we also encourage them to produce safe and healthy food for our people and for the livestock too. Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon.
Thank you so much for that wonderful
Can
insight.
you hear?
Thank you so much for that wonderful
You're
insight, Mr.
welcome.
Kayode. Thank you so much for joining us. To our viewers, thank you so much. I'm taking the last comment for today from Mr. Abubakar. He's saying, nice presentation. Good to be part of this scholarly scholars platform. Thank you so much, Mr. Abubakar. So I'm using this opportunity to let you know that the window room for registration for Global Challenge 6.0 is still on. You can register, tell your friends, tell your families, tell your people around you. We can grow together. We can do sustainable plant health together. We can manage our plant world together. We all just need the right knowledge, and that is what we are here for. That's what we are providing you to. So this is the end of this streaming. This is the end of this live video. This is the end of today's video. So I was saying thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Kaide, for your time. To our live viewers, thank you for staying with us by today's time. We appreciate you and we value your presence. Goodbye and God bless you.
Thank you.